Hello, my Grots and Gets. Welcome back to Happy Crump and Wargaming. I am pretty freaking excited because as of tomorrow, I will be on my way to Atlanta to represent everyone over here in the great country of Norway for the World Championships of Warhammer. Of course, I'm still repping the US. USA. Still love them. But yeah, so we've actually got 4 people from Norway going over there. And guess what we're doing? We are bringing some tools with us. No, I'm not talking about tool bags like Robute Goleman. I'm talking about the most useful tools to actually make your gaming experience in Warhammer 40,000 even better. This is going to be a pretty quick video, but trust me, the value you get out of this video by being prepared for a tournament or prepared to play a competitive game Warhammer 40,000 is going to be astronomical for you. So quick, but great. Okay. All right. So when we are running the game of Warhammer 40,000, there are gadgets. There are tools we need to make sure that the game runs smoothly. There's a few inherent problems when we play 40K. And pretty much every single one of those problems is going to be the inherent inaccuracy of measurements. That is measurement of actual distance, measurement of time, measurement of whatever, guys. Is always going to be an inherent human error in the accuracy of measurements and movement. So what we need to make sure that we can do and what we're going to bring our tools along with us to make sure we do is that we are going to be able to draw lines of sight. We're going to be able to know what unit is being represented where. Guys, this is the definitive list of tools necessary for 40K. Also, in the slideshow, I forgot to put in super glue, so bring super glue because shit breaks. Moving on, number one tool that we need that is not super glue. You need measuring sticks and a measuring tape. The standard measuring tape is freaking awesome. I always bring it with me. You need it. It's going to be required for setting up the board. It's going to be required for movements. But if you are serious about the game, you really need to invest in a set of measuring sticks. These measuring sticks range from 1 inch, 2 inch, 3, 4, 5, just like the picture here represents, it goes all the way to 12. It is so easy, and I am not saying that people are cheating, but it is so incredibly easy for people to move inaccurately on the tabletop. How many times have you seen someone move their 6-inch movement, and because they got the little tape measure above it, and you really look at it, well, that model actually moved 7 inches. They're not cheating. They 100% moved them 7 too far, but they're not cheating. It's inaccurate, especially at the angle that you're holding the tape. A lot of times it's easy to just accidentally move both at the same time, and then you end up moving 7 inches instead of 6 inches. So use measuring sticks. Put the stick on the table next to where the model is moving. Boom. It's going to be much more accurate. It's going to be much better for you and for your opponent. These sticks are also really, really fantastic for setting up your screens. So let's say that I'm moving my entire army and I want to make sure I have the corner of the table to be screened from deep strikers. Well, I can just put my 9-inch stick right there, and I'm just going to say, okay, cool. I need a model at the end of this stick to guarantee that I've got the 9-inch aura necessary to deny my opponent deep striking in this corner. When you do that, it gets so much easier with a visual representation. Then lastly, you can have these little 3-inch sticks, which I use for pylons and consolidates every single time. It's always going to be much more effective and efficient and accurate than using the actual measuring tape for it. So guys, get yourself a good set of tabletop measurements. I don't really have a company that I recommend. I think I'm going to try to produce some of my own, but that's because I am going to be a money-grubbing whore. So with that, let's move on to the next device that's really good. We have line of sight devices. Now, this is what I use. I do not have any affiliation with the Army Painter, but I use their Markalite laser pointer. The thing is awesome. It cost me $8, and it is the best $8 I think I've ever spent in the hobby because I still have it years later, and it works wonderfully. What it does is it's a little laser pointer, but there's a little refraction in the lens of it that forces it to come out in a straight line on the table and not as a little dot. When it comes out as a straight line, you can hold it above your models and you can actually see, does the laser cross the two models that you're trying to figure out? Do you actually have line of sight? Does it cross the two models, and does it also cross terrain? Oh, look at that. The terrain actually is in the way, and you don't have to hunker down and try to pretend that you can be objective with a point of view angle from your eyes. So the laser pointer is much better. You can also use levelers like I have on the picture here as well. And this is actually going to be really good for drawing line of sight also because you can just set that thing on the table and it's going to be a straight line no matter where you are, and that's going directly from the model. So these are two different ways of doing it. I use the little handheld one that gives a straight line from the bird's eye view, which I think is just better. So I recommend everyone get one of these. It doesn't have to be Army Painter. Use whatever company you want. And once again, so this is not sponsored. I get no throwbacks from this. It's just what I use because it works really well. Next thing that you're gonna want with you as you are playing the game of Warhammer 40,000 is going to be tokens. Guys, there are lots of buffs. There's, oh, I'm +1 to hit. Oh, you're -1 to hit. Oh, I'm -1 to be wounded. Oh, you're +1 to be wounded. There are so many modifiers in the game. It can be actually quite troublesome to figure out who is what. Whether you're battle shocked, whether you are the Oath of Moment target. It is really, really nice to have tokens and markers denoting what unit has what buff or nerf. These things rock. Tons of companies do these. I don't have anyone in particular shout out. You can just buy from anyone. Do it from someone on Etsy. Do it from someone who's making something creative and cool. Support our Etsy guys. Another way to do it, and this is really good for certain armies like Imperial Guard, for example, is these little dry erase tokens. You could just write down whether it's take aim or if it's going to be first rank, second rank fire. It's these little dry erase marker tokens are really beautiful for a variety of armies because you can just like write in whatever it is on there. So the most economical and cheap way to do it is probably get these little dry erase marker tokens. The other way is that you could get like specific, oh, this unit's advancing this. Now, I would never use a token for, oh, this unit advanced. Honestly, I just remember that the unit advanced. But in all reality, should you use a token? Yeah, man, it just stops arguments on the table, which means that you're going to have a more pleasant game because no one's going to be arguing about anything. It's like, oh, no, that unit advanced. See, there's a little token saying it advanced. You should do it. So there you have it, guys. Use tokens. Next, dice. All right, everyone needs lots of dice, and you especially need the Happy Crumpin dice. And this is actually a little bit financially... I do have a little financial incentive for this one. Because these Happy Crumb dice, if you order them from the Baron of Dice, I do get a kickback, and it does help me run the channel. So if you want these badass, awesome dice, make sure to visit the Baron of Dice. Use code Crumping5. I actually have a link in the video description down below. Get these dice. They're awesome. They've got a sweet matte finish, and yeah, do that. Anyway, when you are using dice on the table, you really, really, really need to make sure that whether you're using all one type of dice or you're, oh geez, sorry, just clicked over on the wrong slide. Whether you're using all of the same dice or you're using like tons of different brands of dice. So like when I go to the WTC, I end up leaving with 25 different types of dice from all the countries that I played against or people that I just met up with. We exchange dice. It's like a cool little fun hobby thing. And if I want to roll all those dice, just play with a multicolored dice or whatever, it's really important that you always have the logo on either the 6 or the 1. And you're uniform about it. You don't want some of the dice you're rolling to have logos on 1s, some of the dice that you're rolling to have logos on 6s. It can cause confusion. It can make that, oh, you just grab all the logos and assume they were all 6s. Whoops, there are actually 3 1s in there. It can really cause problems, which can cause allegations, and it can cause just feel bads. So whatever dice you're using, just make sure all of the logos are on either the 6 or on only the 1. Don't mix and match. I always just choose 6s. I don't have any logos that are 1s. It's just the way I like to play. Then you got clock and objective markers. Big shock to a lot of people is that when you go to tournaments, a lot of times they don't have objective markers for you. And if you don't have your own set of objective markers, it can be super annoying trying to find these like little 40mm tokens and hoping they don't slide on the table. So seriously, spend your $10 or whatever that it costs to get your set of objective markers and bring them with you. You cannot rely on your opponent having them. It doesn't work out well. Inevitably, you're going to hit a table and neither one of you have objective markers, and it's going to be super annoying trying to figure out how you're going to mark your objectives. So just bring a set of objective markers. This is one I'm going to look into actually producing as well because I've got some pretty sick design ideas. Then you're going to want to bring a clock, all right? You do not want to go to a tournament and since the tournament doesn't have clocks provided for everyone, which most tournaments do not have clocks or objective markers provided, mind you, you do not want to be paired up against the guy who is crazy slow and neither one of you have a clock, and you don't want to just assume, I'm sure it'll be fine. And then 3 hours later, when you've played for 15 minutes and your opponent played for 2 hours and 45 minutes, you lose because you only get to play for 15 minutes because your opponent was stupidly slow. Don't run into that, man. Just get a clock. You don't even have to be crazy strict about the clock. Just have the clock running so both of you can see that time is actually moving and you don't waste time just you actually play the game. Get a clock. It's going to make your life much, much easier. And then lastly, let's talk about food and drinks. Guys, some of these tournaments get very, very long and they can be pretty rough on your body. I'm very fit and I promote health and fitness a lot. When I'm done with the tournament, I'm generally pretty exhausted. My wife actually always makes fun of me. She's always like, dude, you played games all day and now you're going to be complaining that you're tired? She just doesn't get me, bruh. Anyway, seriously, guys, bring a protein bar. I highly, highly recommend staying away from high sugar snacks. High sugar snacks will spike and tank your freaking blood sugar. When your blood sugar drops, you get cloudy brain thinking. It's what happens. People who are chugging down Coca-Colas and they're shooting candy constantly, your brain does get cloudier. You will make judgment mistakes because your blood sugar gets screwed up from what you're consuming. High protein, low sugar snacks or foods or meals. And one little pro tip that I have for you that basically no one listens to except for a few people who are very smart people and they've gotten a lot better at the game because of it is get yourself some hydration salts. Most people don't really know this, but hydration is really, generally speaking, not a level of how much fluid you have in your body, like how much water have you drank. You can become dehydrated by drinking water, believe it or not. Your hydration level is typically set by the amount of salts that are in your body. This is going to be your sodium, potassium levels, and there's other things involved in that as well. So what I do is, this is actually the company I use. I use Relight. They are probably a little bit pricier, but they are actually very, very high quality. Once again, I get zero throwbacks from this. It's just what I use. You can also use the electrolyte tablets that people will use for like athletes and stuff. There's tons of options out there. This is just what I use. Getting a good salt hydration drink. I use flavor drinks because then I don't even need a soda because it's just like a good tasting drink. Can 100% light your brain up and get you performing at the highest level possible. And honestly, it can help you stave off the tournament flus that tend to go along because proper hydration levels are critical for your immune system functioning. Guys, these are the essential tools for Warhammer 40,000, especially if you're going to play in tournament play. So highly recommend you check some of these things out. Once again, if you want to pick up some of the Happy Cripping Wargaming dice, check them out on Baron of Dice website. You just type in Happy Crumping Wargaming, or you follow the link I have down below, code Crumping5 for a 5% off to your total order. It does help to fund the channel. And then everything else, man, just get these tools. It doesn't doesn't cost you all that much, and it will just provide a much more enjoyable and accurate gaming experience. Until next time, happy crumping. Bye-bye.